Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something, well, absolutely fundamental to how we function, the really intricate link between sleep and your cognitive abilities.
Right?
We're talking about how those hours we spend, seemingly out of it actually impact memory, problem solving, pretty much everything.
Exactly. And the sources we've looked at, they paint a really compelling picture. This isn't just guesswork. It's based on solid neuroscience and psychology. Sleep isn't passive. It's dynamic.
Yeah, active, not just switching off.
Absolutely not.
Far from it.
And our main source for this exploration today is a really thorough report from Self Sensei. It pulls together a ton of scientific work, expert insights, neuroscience, psychology, sleep, cognition. It's all in there.
Did a great foundation. So our mission here is to pull out the most important stuff, the core ideas about how sleep shapes how you think.
And hopefully give you some actionable insights, things you can actually use to, sharpen your mind by optimizing sleep.
That's the goal. Sharper thinking through better sleep. Okay, so let's get into it. This indispensable alliance, as the report called it. The whole way we think about sleep has changed, hasn't it?
Oh, massively. For ages, it was just seen as downtime, like the brain switching off. But we know now that's completely wrong.
Right.
It's a highly organized, active state. The brain's busy doing essential maintenance, restoration, and really optimizing itself. Think of it like system updates running overnight on your computer.
That's a good analogy. Okay, so if sleep is so active, what exactly is cognitive function? It sounds broad.
It is broad, yeah.
Yeah.
It covers a huge range of mental processes, basically everything your mind does to let you perceive, think, learn, remember.
Like attention span, memory.
Definitely attention, how you perceive things, all types of memory, remembering facts, knowing how to do things like ride a bike, even that mental scratch pad, your working memory.
Okay, memory's huge. What else?
Language skills, learning new stuff, reasoning, solving problems, planning, making decisions.
Judgment, too. Emotional control.
Yep, judgment, emotional regulation, it's all part of the package.
Yeah.
The National Institute of Mental Health even has these core categories. Attention, perception, declarative memory, that's your facts language, cognitive control, like stopping yourself from doing something, and working memory.
Wow, okay.
So basically how your brain processes information and helps you navigate life.
So when we say sleep affects cognition, we're not kidding. It's everything.
Pretty much. Its influence is pervasive. It touches almost every aspect of our thinking, which means getting sleep right has huge potential benefits.
Okay, so sleep is active. It's vital for all this cognitive stuff. But what's actually going on when we close our eyes? Let's get into the sleep architecture. NREM and REM stages.
Right. So sleep isn't just one thing. It cycles through different stages, and each stage looks different in terms of brain waves, eye movements, muscle activity. We group them into NREM, non-rapid eye movement, and REM, rapid eye movement sleep.
NREM comes first, usually.
Yep.
It has stages N1, N2, N3. What's N1 like?
N1 is that doorway into sleep. Very light, maybe just a few minutes, 5% of your sleep tops. Your brain waves slow down, alpha waves shift to theta.
Drifting off.
Exactly. Heartbeat, breathing slow down, muscles relax. You can be woken up really easily.
Okay, then we sink deeper into N2. That's a bigger part of the night.
Yeah, N2 is where you spend most of your time, maybe 45, 55%. It gets interesting here. You see these things called sleep spindles, bursts of brain activity in K complexes, big slow waves.
What do those do?
Well, spindles might help block out noise, keep you asleep, and they're increasingly linked to memory processing too. Your heart rate, temperature drop further, harder to wake up now. Sometimes teeth grinding can happen here.
Huh. Okay. And then N3, slow wave sleep, the deep stuff.
That's it. N3, slow wave sleep, deep sleep, about 15–25% of the night, dominated by these big, slow delta waves on the EEG.
Really hard to wake someone up from this.
Very hard. And if you do, they're super groggy, that's sleep inertia. This stage is crucial for physical restoration, tissue repair, growth hormone release, immune function. It's like the body's repair shop.
So getting enough deep sleep is key for physical recovery.
Absolutely. And also, things like sleepwalking or night terrors, they tend to happen in N3.
Okay, that covers NREM. What about REM sleep? Sounds completely different.
It really is. REM kicks in maybe 90 minutes after you fall asleep, makes up about 20–25% of sleep overall. The weird thing is your brain activity looks almost like you're awake. Beta-like waves.
Paradoxical sleep, they call it sometimes?
Exactly. You get rapid eye movements, obviously. Brain oxygen use goes up. Heart rate, breathing become faster, more irregular. But, and this is key, your major muscles are paralyzed. Muscle atonia.
So you don't act out your dreams.
Precisely. And this is the stage where you have those really vivid story-like dreams.
Okay, so a night isn't just sinking into deep sleep and staying there, it's cycles.
Right. You go through about 4 or 5 cycles a night, each one lasting roughly 90 to 110 minutes.
And the pattern is usually N1, N2, N3, back to N2, then REM.
That's the typical progression, yeah.
But the time spent in each stage changes through the night.
It does. Early in the night, you get longer stretches of that deep N3 sleep, shorter REM periods.
Okay.
Then, as the night progresses, it flips. Less deep sleep, longer and more intense REM periods, especially towards the morning.
That sounds deliberate, like the brain prioritizes certain things.
It really seems that way. The early focus on slow-wave sleep probably handles immediate physical repairs and consolidating certain memories like facts and events, declarative memory.
Like filing away the day's information.
Sort of, yeah. Then later, with more REM, the focus might shift to consolidating skills, processing emotions, maybe even boosting creativity.
It's incredibly complex. What's controlling all this? The neurobiology behind it.
Well, a key framework is the two-process model. It suggests sleep is regulated by two main things working together: the homeostatic sleep drive and the circadian rhythm.
Homeostatic drive. That's basically sleep pressure. The longer you're awake, the more you need sleep.
Exactly. It builds up while you're awake, then decreases while you sleep.
Mm.
A key molecule here is adenosine. It accumulates in the brain, makes you sleepy by inhibiting wakefulness circuits.
Ah, so that's why caffeine works. It blocks adenosine.
Precisely. It gets in the way of those adenosine receptors.
Okay, makes sense. And the circadian rhythm, the
Right.
body clock.
Yep, your internal 24-hour clock. It's run by a master clock in the brain, in the hypothalamus, called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or
Mhm.
SCN.
Okay.
It doesn't just control sleep-wake. It influences hormones like melatonin and cortisol, body temperature, alertness levels, all on a roughly 24-hour cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets synced up mainly by light and darkness cues from the environment.
So the best sleep happens when that sleep pressure is high and the body clock says time for sleep.
That's the ideal combination. When they're aligned, you sleep well. When they're misaligned, think jet lag, shift work, that's when you get problems. Sleep disturbances, cognitive issues, it really shows timing and consistency are just as important as duration.
What specific brain areas are the big players here, besides the SCN?
The hypothalamus is definitely central command. There's a nucleus called the VLPO ventrolateral preoptic nucleus, which acts like a sleep switch. It releases inhibitory signals, GABA mainly, to quiet down the wake areas.
Well, so it initiates sleep.
Right. And other parts of the hypothalamus promote wakefulness. Then there's the thalamus.
The sensory relay station.
Yeah. During NREM sleep, it gates sensory input, stops it from reaching the cortex so you can sleep undisturbed. It also helps generate those NREM brainwaves like spindles and slow waves.
And the brainstem, involved in arousal.
Crucial for arousal, yeah.
Hmm.
The reticular formation there. And parts of the pons are essential for kicking off REM sleep and causing that muscle paralysis.
The report also mentioned the hippocampus and amygdala memory and emotion centers.
Right. They aren't sleep centers per se, but they're highly active during sleep, particularly REM.
Mm.
The hippocampus for memory, the amygdala for emotion. Their activity really supports this idea that sleep isn't just passive rest. It's an active time for processing information and emotions.
Active processing. Okay. What about the chemicals involved, the neurotransmitters doing the signaling?
The chemical ballet. It's this intricate balance. You've got chemicals that mainly promote wakefulness and others that promote sleep. The levels shift across the day and night.
Let's start with the wake-up crew. Norepinephrine?
Key for alertness. Attention. Comes from the locus coeruleus. High when you're awake, drops in NREM. Very low in REM.
Serotonin. Seems involved in everything.
It's complex. Generally promotes wakefulness, but might also help initiate NREM. Highest in wake, lowest in REM. Maybe helps deep sleep, but suppresses REM. Still being figured out.
Histamine, like in allergy meds that make you drowsy.
Exactly. Potent wake promoter from the hypothalamus. High in wake, drops in sleep. Blocking it causes drowsiness.
Acetylcholine, linked to learning.
Yep. Crucial for arousal, attention, learning, memory. Interestingly, it's high during both wakefulness and REM sleep, but lower in NREM. Might explain some of the active processing in wake and REM.
Dopamine, usually think reward.
Mostly reward and movement, but it also contributes to wakefulness. Imbalances are linked to things like restless legs syndrome.
And hypocretin, or orexin. That sounded important.
Very important. Powerful wake promoter from the hypothalamus. Stabilizes the whole sleep-wake switch. Prevents you from suddenly falling asleep.
Mm.
Losing these cells causes narcolepsy.
Okay, that's the wake team. Who's on the sleep team? GABA.
GABA's the main inhibitory player in the brain, crucial for sleep. Neurons, especially in that VLPO sleep switch, release GABA to inhibit the wake regions. Helps you fall asleep, stay asleep. Sedatives often boost GABA.
Adenosine, the sleep pressure chemical we mentioned.
Right. Builds up during wakefulness, inhibits wake neurons, promotes sleepiness.
And melatonin, the darkness hormone.
Yep, from the pineal gland. Signals nighttime to the body, helps regulate the circadian rhythm, prepares you for sleep. Light suppresses it.
It's amazing, this intricate dance of chemicals. Okay, so we have the stages, the controls. How does this all translate into sharpening the mind? Let's connect it back to those cognitive functions.
Right. This is where it gets really practical. How do these stages and chemicals actually boost memory, attention, and so on?
Let's start with memory again. Declarative procedural working memory. How does sleep help each?
Okay, so for declarative memory facts, events slow wave sleep, N3, seems absolutely key. There's this idea of a dialogue between the hippocampus, where memories are initially formed, and the neocortex for long-term storage.
Happening during deep sleep.
Exactly. During SWS, memories are thought to be replayed, transferred, strengthened. Those slow waves and spindles seem to coordinate this transfer. More spindles after learning often means better recall later. And the low acetylcholine and cortisol in SWS might be the perfect chemical environment for it.
Okay, so deep sleep for facts. What about skills? Procedural memory.
REM sleep seems more critical there. The high acetylcholine levels in REM, different brain activity patterns, they might help solidify the synaptic connections involved in motor skills or habits.
So practicing piano, then getting good REM sleep helps lock it in.
That seems to be the case. REM helps consolidate and refine those procedures.
And working memory, that mental juggling act.
Working memory is highly sensitive to sleep loss. Even one bad night can mess with your ability to hold information in mind and manipulate it. Explains why complex tasks feel impossible when you're exhausted.
Totally. Feeling scattered. What about just basic attention and vigilance? Staying focused.
Good sleep is essential for both. Selective attention, filtering distractions, and sustained attention, or vigilance. Sleep loss hammers vigilance. More errors, slower reactions, especially on boring tasks.
Right. So if you need to concentrate for a long time.
Get good sleep beforehand. It replenishes your attentional resources.
How does sleep fit with learning new information generally?
It's critical before and after. Sleep beforehand prepares the brain, makes it receptive to encoding new info. Lack of sleep can cut your learning capacity significantly, maybe by 40%, according to some studies. The hippocampus is particularly vulnerable.
Wow.
Then, sleep after learning is crucial for consolidation. Locking it in, making it stable, integrating it with what you already know. Both NREM and REM play roles here.
Okay. What about the higher level stuff? Decision-making, problem-solving, planning, executive functions.
Those prefrontal cortex skills really rely on sleep, too. When you're well rested, your brain is better at organizing info, thinking flexibly, making good judgments. Sleep deprivation leads to more rigid thinking, poorer decisions, more impulsivity. It impairs the brain's CEO, basically.
And emotions. You mentioned REM helps process emotions.
Yeah, REM seems vital for regulating mood and processing emotional memories. The amygdala is very active. The theory is sleep helps digest the emotional impact of events. You consolidate the memory, but dampen the raw emotional charge.
The sleep to remember, sleep to forget idea.
Exactly. Helps with mood stability, coping with stress.
What about creativity? Can sleep actually make you more creative?
There's evidence pointing that way, especially for REM sleep. It seems to foster unusual connections between ideas. Your brain makes links it might not make when awake. Dreaming in REM has been linked to insight and breakthroughs. It might be a kind of offline simulation space.
Thinking outside the box while asleep. Okay, one more mechanism, this glymphatic system. Brain cleaning.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It's basically the brain's waste disposal system.
Yeah.
It clears out metabolic byproducts that build up during the day. And guess what? It's way more active during sleep, particularly deep, slow-wave sleep.
So the brain takes out the trash while we sleep.
Pretty much. It becomes much more efficient, maybe 80–90% more active. It clears out proteins like amyloid beta and tau, which are linked to Alzheimer's.
Whoa.
So poor sleep could impair this cleaning process, leading to buildup. It's a really strong link between sleep quality and long-term brain health, potentially reducing risk for neurodegenerative diseases.
That really drives home how active and essential sleep is. Okay, we've covered the benefits. Now, the dark side.
Yeah.
What happens when we don't get enough sleep? The cognitive toll.
Yeah, the consequences are pretty stark. We can break it down into acute sleep deprivation, like pulling
Yeah.
an all-nighter, and chronic sleep restriction, consistently not getting enough.
Let's start with acute. One night, no sleep. What hits first?
Vigilant attention goes out the window pretty quickly. Lots of lapses, slower reactions, errors mount up, especially on tasks needing sustained focus. Working memory suffers badly.
Can't keep things straight.
Right, and executive functions tank. Decision-making gets worse, you might be more impulsive, problem-solving is harder. Forming new long-term memories is impaired too. Some studies compare 24 hours awake to having a blood alcohol level of 0.10%.
That's significant. What's happening upstairs to cause that?
A lot seems to stem from the prefrontal cortex not working properly.
Yeah.
Reduced activity, messed up connectivity in that area. That likely underlies the attention problems and poor executive control. Communication between different brain networks seems less efficient too.
Okay, so that's one bad night. What about consistently skimping on sleep? Chronic restriction.
This is maybe more common and sneakier. The deficits build up gradually. You get cumulative hits to attention, working memory slows down, processing speed drops, mood can dip. Over time, the impairment can be similar to total sleep deprivation for a night or two.
People feel like they adapt, right?
That's the dangerous part. Subjectively, you might feel less sleepy after a while. But objective tests show your performance keeps declining. You think you're functioning okay, but you're not.
That disconnect is scary.
It is, especially in jobs needing high alertness. And chronic restriction also impairs long-term memory consolidation, both declarative and procedural. It's like running your brain on low battery all the time.
What about fragmented sleep? Getting the hours but waking up constantly.
Fragmentation is also really bad. Quality matters as much as quantity. Interrupted sleep impairs vigilance, attention, executive functions, memory consolidation, just like sleep loss. Plus, you feel sleepy, moody, mentally fatigued. Sleep apnea is a prime example. The constant interruptions wreck sleep quality.
And the really worrying part, the potential long-term consequences. Cognitive decline, neurodegenerative disease risk.
The links are becoming clearer. Chronic poor sleep is a risk factor for things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We talked about the impaired glymphatic clearance, toxic proteins building up.
Right.
But it also promotes neuroinflammation. Oxidative stress in the brain can affect synapses, even lead to neuronal loss in areas like the hippocampus. Some studies show structural brain changes, like reduced gray matter volume, with chronic insomnia. It's a serious long-term concern.
Definitely. Okay, how does this play out differently across the lifespan or in different groups? Kids and teens, first, they need tons of sleep.
Absolutely. It's a critical time for brain development. Teens need maybe 8–10 hours, but their natural body clock shifts later, often clashing with early school starts. This chronic sleep debt is linked to worse performance in, well, pretty much everything: cognitive reasoning, processing speed, memory, attention. More sleep for adolescents is linked to better cognitive scores and healthier brain structure. Sleep is vital for consolidating learning and pruning connections during development.
What about older adults? Sleep changes as we age, right?
It does. Sleep often becomes lighter, more fragmented, less deep sleep, less REM, more waking up during the night. At the same time, some cognitive functions tend to decline with age: processing speed, working memory. And research consistently finds links between these age-related sleep changes and cognitive function. Less deep sleep is a particular worry because of its role in memory and that glymphatic cleaning. Maintaining good sleep could be really protective for cognitive health and aging.
What if someone has a specific sleep disorder, like insomnia or sleep apnea?
Those have direct cognitive impacts. Chronic insomnia isn't just trouble sleeping, it affects working memory, problem solving, attention, executive function during the day. It's a risk factor for long-term decline. Sleep apnea, with its interruptions and low oxygen, hits vigilance, attention, reaction time, executive functions, memory hard. It's linked to higher risk of mild cognitive impairment and dementia too.
And conditions like ADHD or autism, sleep problems are common there too.
Very common. In autism, sleep issues can worsen behavioral challenges and social difficulties. In ADHD, they can exacerbate inattention and hyperactivity. Since sleep is so vital for brain plasticity and learning, these co-occurring sleep problems can really add another layer of difficulty.
And the link with mental health, depression, anxiety, it's a two-way street.
Definitely bidirectional and complex. Poor sleep is a symptom of depression and anxiety, but it also makes them worse. It can worsen mood, impair coping skills, lower resilience. Addressing sleep issues can sometimes improve the core symptoms of the mental health condition as well. It's all interconnected.
It really paints a picture of sleep being central to so much. So let's pivot to solutions. What factors can we actually influence? What modulates sleep and cognition?
Lots of things, thankfully. Lifestyle choices are huge. Diet plays a role, balanced nutrition helps. But things like caffeine late in the day, alcohol before bed, those are definite sleep disruptors. Heavy meals close to bedtime can cause issues too.
Exercise, usually good for sleep.
Generally, yes. Regular activity improves sleep quality. But timing matters. Vigorous exercise right before bed might keep you up. Stress management is also key. Chronic stress wrecks sleep. Mindfulness, relaxation techniques can really help break that cycle.
And the modern menace screens before bed.
Big one. The blue light suppresses melatonin, shifts your body clock, makes it harder to fall asleep. Limiting screens in the evening helps. Conversely, getting bright light in the morning helps anchor your rhythm.
What about the sleep environment itself?
Crucial. Dark, quiet, cool. That's the general advice. Minimize light and noise, comfortable mattress, pillows, even air quality can matter. Feeling safe and secure also contributes.
And things beyond our immediate control. Medical conditions, medications.
Yeah, many health conditions interfere with sleep pain, breathing problems, metabolic issues. And lots of medications can affect sleep architecture or cause drowsiness or insomnia. Sedatives, antidepressants, stimulants, even some blood pressure meds. It's important to be aware of potential side effects and talk to your doctor.
This has been incredibly insightful, just mapping out all these connections. Let's try to boil down the key takeaways.
Sure. I think the main thing is sleep is not optional downtime. It's a fundamental active biological process that underpins almost all cognitive functions.
Right. Memory, learning, attention, decision-making, emotional balance, creativity.
Exactly. And the different stages, the neurochemistry, that's all working to support those functions. Conversely, cutting sleep short, whether acutely or chronically, or having fragmented sleep, really damages those abilities and carries long-term risks for brain health.
So for you listening, understanding this link is empowering. Prioritizing sleep, optimizing your habits and environment, it's not self-indulgence, it's essential maintenance for your brain. Small changes can really add up for both your daily performance and long-term cognitive health.
Well said. It's about actively nurturing your brain through sleep.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you with. If sleep is this active period of brain detoxification and memory organization, maybe we should think about optimizing sleep as a kind of essential nightly cognitive spring cleaning, something vital for keeping our minds sharp and resilient across our lifespan. What parts of your sleep routine could use a closer look, a conscious effort to improve, something to chew on? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.